am I wasting my life focusing on the wrong things? Like, I feel like I'm good at things, but I also feel like I'm bad at things. But should I focus on one more than the other? So, a lot of people are so worried, like they don't know what they want to do, and I feel like they focus on the wrong things in terms of skills. And I feel like sometimes they land themselves in jobs that maybe either A, their skill set should not fit into that position, or they try and strengthen certain skills that should not be strengthened, and maybe they should be focusing on one more than the other. So I'll ask you guys, like, what are your skills that you feel like set you apart from other people? Okay, what skills or what are you actually good at? Okay, what are you bad at and you feel like you shouldn't change? And what are you bad at that you feel like you should change? Okay, so the new approach. So based on those couple questions, even like if you're really serious about this, like honestly, just get a pen and paper and literally write them down. Like, think about all the possible skills you're possibly good at. Let's say it could be drawing, speaking to people, helping people out, playing hockey, mentoring people, etc., etc. Like, it can go on forever. Um, but what you want to do with those skills is that you want to categorize them. So there's two main categories that I feel like you should put these two skills in, and that'll kind of actually help you understand which skills you should be focusing on and which skills you shouldn't be focusing on. So those two categories are your living skills and your hobby skills. So the difference between your living skills and hobby skills. So I'll start with hobby skills first. So painting, drawing, dancing. I mean, the list can go on. Like, it's just things you're good at, but you may not necessarily have a job in or should have a job in. And then there's your living skills. So living skills could even be those ones. But, you know, more would be like communication, helping others, being a leader, motivating, etc. So they could actually coincide with each other. Like, they can either be in A or B category. It's just, it depends on the type of person you are and which one you feel like you would help or you would rather strengthen so you could have a future within it. So let's say you're really good. I'll use myself as an example so it makes it easier. So like, I'm actually fairly good at music, so like, I'm a musically gifted person, but I'm also a great speaker and I help people out a lot. But I am not going to make a living in myself. I'm not going to make a living off of music. So then I would categorize that into hobby skills. And then living skills, okay, communication, motivating others, being a leader, that would be for my living skills personally. So once I have a strong category of these living skills, then I could be like, okay, what type of jobs do these pertain to? And that'll help you figure out what you should actually be focusing those on for. And then your hobby skills, don't just see them there and just abandon them. You want to actually make sure you find time to use these hobby skills effectively, because it'll actually make you a happier person naturally. So I actually stopped playing music for a while, but when I started playing it again, I actually felt much more happier as a person. And also the skills you're bad at but you feel like you can't change, don't even focus on those. So a lot of people say like, oh, try and make sure you're better at these things, blah blah blah. Not every single skill should you actually focus on making better. So skills that you can change, that are actually be beneficial for yourself, are the skills you should change. So maybe your attitude, how you approach certain things, your work ethics, your time management, those things can be changed. But if you're talking about something like I don't know, fixing your hair, or being better at a certain sport, or being a better stylist or something like that, like, those are not really relevant to certain people. Maybe for some people it is, but for some people it's not. So you have to learn how to know yourself and then go on from there. So practice figuring out what your living skills and hobby skills are. Learn about the good and the bad, and within the bad, you want to find out the bad skills that you should be working on that'll help you much more. And then you want to observe. So now when you're in your everyday life, just simply think like, how much time do I actually use towards my hobby skills? Like, how much time do I actually have fun and I sit down and enjoy myself? With your good skills, which ones do I actually like implementing in this world? Like, do I genuinely like speaking to people, or should I just keep that as a hobby and just go talk for fun? Like, just simple things like that. Like, actually seeing which ones are your hobby skills, your living skills, and then putting them into action and seeing which ones you actually care for will actually help you figure out what you should be focusing on in life. So the question of the day today is, when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up and why? And now, what do you want to be when you grow up? And what do you think made that change? So within that gap, what do you think were the outliers, not the outliers, what do you think were those limits or whatever it was, the knowledge gap that actually made you change your mind? And even if you want to like write down below like what made you change your mind, like maybe you learned something different, or maybe your approach, like for me, I wanted to go to med school, but that's not me anymore. I want to go into business. So simple things like that. And the reason why is because I'm an effective communicator and I want to help people. And there's two lenses to look at it. Like there's helping people. So, okay, think about it like this. There's an immunologist who can help people, and then there's an entrepreneur who can help people. An immunologist, if I don't get this job, someone else will take the job and do the same type of help. But as an entrepreneur, no one can replicate your mind, nor can they replicate your ideas. So you're actually doing help in a different space. So that was kind of like my approach to it. So you just think about it yourself. And if you want, write it down below and I'll jump in the comments with you guys. Thank you.